Welcome to alternate Super Bowl 12 preview. Tomorrow night at about this time, alternate Super Bowl 12 from 1977 featuring the conference championship runners-up versus the Oakland Raiders versus the Minnesota Vikings. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the alternate Super Bowl and how I got to it, basically what I do is I take the conference championships that really happened and reverse them 100%. That is what this pregame show is for. We start on January 1st, 1978, the AFC title game. I will read you the Wikipedia description, changing all the teams around so that Oakland beats Denver. Despite a poor day from veteran kicker Earl Mann, who missed 3 field goals and had an extra point blocked, Oakland converted 2 second-half turnovers into touchdown to edge out the 12-2 Denver Broncos. Oakland forced a punt on their opening drive, and Ray Guy's kick went just 21 yards to the Oakland 43-yard line. Aided by 2 Bronco penalties, including a running into the punter. Aided by 2 Raider penalties, including a running into the punter call that enabled Denver to avoid a 3-and-out. The Broncos subsequently drove to the Oakland 2-yard line and scored with Jim Turner's 20-yard field goal. But on the Raiders' second drive, quarterback Ken Stabler threw a 74-yard touchdown pass to Cliff Branch, who caught the ball along the right sideline and managed to break through a tackle attempt by defensive back Bill Thompson, and stay in bounds on the way to the end zone. The score would remain 7-3 for the rest of the first half, with Turner hitting the uprights on a 30-yard field goal try and Mann missing a 40-yard attempt. The Broncos also suffered a major setback when wide receiver Haven Moses went down with a separated shoulder. Denver's Rick Upchurch returned a second-half kickoff 62 yards to the Oakland 33-yard line. On first down, Craig Morton tried to connect with Jack Dolbin in the end zone, but defensive back Jack Tatum barely managed to deflect the pass away. Then, running back, Rob Lytle was held to a 1-yard gain. Morton threw a third down incompletion, and the Broncos decided to punt rather than risk a 49-yard field goal. Oakland took after and drove deep into Bronco territory, with Branch hauling in a 41-yard reception to give the Raiders another scoring chance. But following a bad snap, Mann missed another field goal, this one from 31 yards. On the next play, Denver's Rob Lytle lost a fumble at defensive end Barney Chavis recovered at the Denver 17-yard line. A short carry from fullback Mark Van Eegen. And Stabler's 13-yard completion then moved the ball to the 2. Then running back Clarence Davis was hit in midair while trying to dive over the line by Broncos safety Bernard Jackson and lost the ball. Denver nose tackle Reuben Carter appeared to recover the fumble, but the play was blown dead by an official on the opposite side of the field. The officials, chiefly Ed Marion, ruled that Davis's forward progress was stopped before the fumble, even though replays clearly showed the ball was knocked free at the moment of contact. Oakland retained possession. The Broncos were then penalized half the distance to the goal for arguing the call, and Van Eegen scored an Oakland touchdown on the next play to give Oakland a 14-3 lead. Later on, Oakland recovered a muffed punt from Upchurch on the Broncos' 27-yard line. Right after the turnover, Stabler appeared to throw a touchdown pass to Fred Bolitnikov, who made a rolling catch along the ground and then got up and headed for the end zone. However, officials ruled the ball had touched the ground before he secured the catch. Replays appeared to contradict this, and it was called an incompletion. Following 2 more incomplete passes, Mann missed his 3rd field goal of the day, this time from 44 yards, and the Raiders came up empty. Near the end of the 3rd quarter, Denver finally caught a break when Upchurch returned Guy's 38-yard punt 4 yards to the Raiders' 48-yard line. On the next play, John Keyworth rushed for 13 yards following an incompletion. Morton fired a pass to tight end Riley Odoms, who made a falling catch, got back up, and took off for a 26-yard gain to the Oakland 9. 2 plays later, Morton finished the drive with a 7-yard pass to Odoms on the second play of the fourth quarter, cutting the score to 14-10. Oakland responded by advancing the ball to the Bronco 11-yard line, only to have linebacker Willie Hall made a clutch interception and returned the ball 14 yards to the Denver 17-yard line. 2 plays later, Cliff Branch made a sliding 12-yard catch of Stabler's pass in the end zone, putting the Raiders ahead 20-10. After Mann's extra point was blocked, Denver struck back with an 8-play, 74-yard drive to score on Riley Odom's 17-yard touchdown pass to make it 20-17 with 3:16 left in regulation. But the Raiders held the ball the rest of the game and ran out the clock. Cliff Branch was responsible for most of Oakland's 217 yards gained through the air, finished the game with 5 receptions for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns. Stabler completed 10 of 20 passes for 224 yards and 2 touchdowns, and with 1 interception. Morton finished 17 of 35 for 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Upchurch returned 3 kickoffs for 111 yards and 2 punts for 5. Now in the NFC Championship game. Dallas versus Minnesota. The Viking defense held the Cowboys to 214 total yards, 66 rushing yards, and 6 points, while forcing them to lose 4 turnovers. Dallas again started quarterback Roger Staubach. I'm not going to read the rest. Dallas' starter was Roger Staubach. Minnesota again started quarterback Bob Lee, who was playing for injured Fran Tarkenton. That point really happened. Minnesota took the early lead after defensive end Jim Marshall recovered a fumble from the Cowboy running back Tony Dorsett on the 3rd play of the game, giving the Vikings a first down on the Dallas 39-yard line. Following a 7-yard run by Chuck Foreman, Minnesota scored on Bob Lee's 32-yard touchdown pass to receiver Sammy White, giving the team a 6-0 lead after Fred Cox missed the extra point. Later in the quarter, Dallas had a big chance to score when Minnesota pumped back near the goal line and gave the Cowboys a first down on the Minnesota 45-yard line. But this drive was snuffed out by defensive lineman Alan Page, who stormed the Cowboys' backfield and tackled running back Tony Dorsett immediately after taking a handoff, forcing a fumble that was recovered by Jim Marshall. In the second quarter, Minnesota took advantage of a short field after Sammy White returned a punt 4 yards to the Vikings' 46. The team then drove 46 yards in 8 plays, including a 14-yard run by punter Neil Clabo on a fake punt. Yeah, like that could happen. To score on Robert Miller. Sorry. I lost my spot again. I apologize. 4-yard punt. Score on Robert Miller's 5-yard rushing touchdown. Cowboys wide receiver Drew Pearson returned the kickoff 37 yards to the 40-yard line on the next play. A 44-yard pass interference penalty on Jeff Wright gave Dallas a first down on the Viking 8. But after Dorsett was stuffed on 2 running plays, defensive end Carl Eller sacked Staubach on the 16-yard line, forcing the Cowboys to settle for a 13-3 deficit from Efren Herrera's 33-yard field goal. Then, after forcing a punt, Staubach completed passes to Billy Joe Dupree and Drew Pearson for gains of 19 and 16 yards as the team drove 68 yards to score on Herrera's 37-yard field goal, making the score 13-6 with less than 2 minutes left in half. Minnesota struck back on a 32-yard completion from lead to running back Robert Miller, setting up Cox's 21-yard field goal, giving the team a 16-6 halftime lead. Dallas mounted a mild scoring threat early in the third quarter when a 28-yard completion from Staubach to Preston Pearson gave them a first down on the Dallas 34. But they could on the Minnesota 34, but they could go no further and ended up punting. Near the end of the quarter, Minnesota had a huge chance to increase their lead with a drive inside the Cowboys' 15-yard line. But Dallas safety Charlie Waters forced a fumble from Chuck Foreman, and it was recovered by linebacker D.D. Lewis. In the fourth quarter, Viking linebacker Matt Blair forced Cowboy punt returner to fumble, and it was recovered by Minnesota tight end Stu Voigt. 5 plays later, Foreman rushed for an 11-yard touchdown run to put the game away. During the first quarter, a fan dressed in a snowman suit, 24-year-old Daniel Yoder, was accidentally set on fire when he bumped into a flaming can of liquid fuel being used by a girl selling hot chocolate in the stands. Oh. Yoder was completely engulfed in flames, but other spectators managed to put out the fire, and he survived second-degree burns. I saw that play in the television set, but they were never able to update it. Okay, so that is the preview. Tomorrow night is alternate Super Bowl 12. Who do you have? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe, and as always, share and let your friends know about the alternate Super Bowl, Minnesota versus Oakland.